Kingdom.
Fuck that house now. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it. Niggas just can't take it. Yeah.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage and Cypher. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any breaking Nets news. We're about 100 subscribers away from 19K. So help us out. Get us to 19K. And make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. All our Twitters are scrolling on the bottom. Instagram is Nets Kingdom 1. And the articles are dropping. We just dropped the newest article. Cypher just dropped the newest article on Jimmy Butler, what we're going to talk about today.
Check it out.
Should the Nets sign Jimmy Butler? That is the question. Let me read a little bit of Cyph's article here. It says, in a recent report from Brian Lewis of the New York Post, there was allegedly interest from Miami Heat star forward Jimmy Butler in potentially joining the Nets in 2025 free agency. Upon hearing this report, the reaction from the fan base was mixed. Some fans were excited, salivating at the idea of cutting the rebuild short and competing with the electrifying Jimmy Butler. However, other fans were dismayed at the idea, believing Butler will be 36 by the time he signs with the Nets. Does not match the timeline of the roster. So, Rage, real quick, give us Jimmy's, I guess give us his career stats, but I want to see, because it's two different Jimmys. It's the playoff Jimmy and the regular season Jimmy. So give us regular season Jimmy first, I guess.
So regular season Jimmy, we're gonna go if we want. We'll go pick off this past year.
Yeah.
His averages are. He has 18, 5.3, 4.3. That's overall time. But this past year he had 20.8, 5.3 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game.
Yeah.
He had, and then he played in 60 games, 34 minutes per game. Shot 49.9% from the field and shot a career high 41.1 or 41.4% from three.
Wow. During the regular season, that's not bad. That's not
Regular
bad.
season Jimmy. Regular
Because
season Jimmy.
Jimmy usually doesn't really shoot a ton of threes. Like, he's not really known for hitting threes, but then every time in the playoffs, he'd be hitting out, step back, contested.
His career average is 32.9.
32, yeah, exactly. 32.9 from three, because he's not really known as like a three-point gunner. He's usually more of that midi attack, high post, floater, like jump shot kind of guy. But yeah, the 3-point shot is not really his strong suit. But in the playoffs, he's just a different animal. Let me ask you, what was your thoughts when you first heard that? And then I'll do Cypher. What was your thoughts, Rage, about like Jimmy Butler possibly wanting to come to the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, the first thought was Jimmy Butler, and that's what the original thought was. But then it was like, well, it was kind of like, no. I mean, it was interesting, and we know he's been like, we've heard rumors about him like wanting to play with us like back in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
But that was a minute ago. But just thinking about it, it's like the dude's obviously just getting older. He's going to be what you said, like 36 at the time of the contract. He's going to want a lot of money. It was a pretty fast no for me. But it's interesting. But it was like, nah. It was like, what?
Yeah. And then let me ask Cypher, though, because I wrote a good article. Why would Jimmy be interested in coming here? Like, what do you think the reason is, Cypher? Like, why would Jimmy be like, the Nets? Let me go there.
I mean, short answer, I don't think he is. I think it's more so he's trying to get a max from Miami, and he's using us as leverage.
Okay. So you think like, all right, well, we know the situation right now. Well, look at the cap sheet here. Jimmy's getting about 48, Bam 34, Tyler Hero 29, Terry Rozier 24, Duncan 19. So I'm looking through the roster, and they're kind of, without Jimmy, they're kind of a younger team. I mean, not Terry Rozier. They're kind of a young team. Like, the Miami Heat seem ready for like a kind of a rebuild, young contesting team right now if they get rid of Jimmy and Terry Rozier, to me. You know what I'm saying? So, and Kevin Love, obviously, but for some reason, Pat is just holding on to the vets. I guess because, playoff Jimmy's different. But we saw that at the end of the year, Pat in that press conference was kind of slandering Jimmy. I remember he told him to shut up. What did he tell him to shut up about? He was like, "Shut up and just
You
dribble
have
or
to
something."
play. If you're not gonna play, if you're gonna play,
Oh
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
play if you're gonna
Jimmy was
talk.
talking smack to the Celtics. I think he said something like, "Oh, you're lucky. Don't let us get one. Don't let us get one." And then Pat was like, "Shut up if you're not playing," or something like that, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah, and Pat Riley,
mhm,
Pat Riley's arrogant, but he's not an idiot. Like he
yeah,
knows what he's trying to do, and he's trying to force Jimmy into not taking a max, which
yeah,
I understand from his perspective. It makes a lot of sense. Like Jimmy Butler is starting to get injury prone. He's getting older. He
yeah,
not underperforms, but he doesn't try as hard during the regular season.
yeah,
That is a problem, and it's why Butler's market is going to be very questionable.
yeah, yeah. Because I want to know. There's definitely going to be Heat fans watching this. Heat fans, let us know. Is it worth keeping Jimmy Butler still on the team? I know he's done so much for the Heat. Like, I know Heat fans probably love Jimmy almost as much as D Wade because every single time, the amount of times I've seen the Heat make the Eastern Conference Finals, I just can't believe it. Every single time, I'm like, there's no way the Heat are gonna come through the play-in and make it to the finals. And every single year, they just surprise me. This year, I guess you guys had the injuries, but it's like, is he worth keeping for the near future? Because he's getting 48 million right now. Are you gonna? Is he worth 40 plus million at 36 years old, injury prone? And we know what regular season Jimmy is. Regular season Jimmy is ghost. He basically just sits down, takes a couple games off. He'll play here and there. He'll give you a few buckets. He'll give you a few games where he goes crazy, but he's not going to do nothing in the regular season. He's
25 and 5. 25
25 and
like that's
5.
that's
And that's
that's
if.
so
And how
crazy.
many games
Like
does he play this year? And that's if
he's
he
played
plays
60.
60.
60, yeah. And
60.
that's if,
Okay, that's not too bad, but Jimmy. Jimmy's not really like he just doesn't have that fire in his eyes in the regular season. Miami can stay afloat because they have good like young core. You got Jaime Jaquez, you got Tyler Hero, you got these guys, Bam. But once playoffs come, as it's Jimmy time. So all right, but yeah, going into the future with the Nets, this is what we were talking about before we started this. Like, we would you guys during this rebuild, and we know Bobby Marks just said, okay, we control free agency next year. We're gonna have 80 million cap space, stacked draft picks. Do you guys would like, all right, 2025, 26, would you guys want a vet like just for like a small 2 year, 3 year got like 2 year deals, 3 year deal? Would you guys think a vet is necessary for the Nets in this rebuild that we're in?
I think that
Yeah.
does depend a lot on our draft position. If we
Mhm.
if we if we have that number one, if Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey is there,
Yeah.
you could easily and based off of what season we could have, we could easily go in with the mindset of like, okay, we're gonna go and get a guy on like a 2 or 3 year deal. But if we end up, maybe we're in the lower portion of that, or
Mhm.
just the results don't end up in how we might think in terms of how we develop our guys. Who knows?
Mhm.
But I mean, I think we've talked about us like leaning more towards of like being able to draft higher in these upcoming drafts. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get number one, or you could get Ace Bailey, or you could get number two, you could get Ace Bailey or Cooper Flag. I mean, it's in play for sure.
Yeah.
It's in play.
What
It's
do you
definitely
think, Slack?
possible.
Because I look at like these other rebuild teams, and most of these rebuild teams do try to have one. Like, okay, OKC tried it with Gordon Hayward, but it didn't work out. Detroit had tried it with by who Detroit with Bogdanovich. Was it
Yeah,
Bogey? Yeah, Bogey Bogdanovich. They tried it with him. I'm trying to think of other rebuild teams, but they usually try to get a vet. But what do you think, Slack? Yeah,
I mean, the I don't know. I'm worried about him getting in other players' way
yeah,
because 20 by the time 2025 does come around, even though it will be like a huge development year for Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton,
yeah,
having a veteran on the team, he's going to attract attention and usage.
yeah,
And depending on who we draft, like if we do get Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, two guys who I consider generational, they basically play the forward position, same as Butler.
yeah,
Will he get in their way? And
yeah,
that is a concern. So, but then there is the argument that because Butler is, he's been through a lot, like multiple finals, multiple teams, multiple coaches. So he's been around. and he
Yeah.
does have playmaking, and so having a veteran that can play make does provide you some serious value, especially, a hard worker, a guy that's worked his way from, being homeless to being into the NBA, like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Like, he does bring just veteran toughness, which we haven't had in a long time, so
Oh my god. I would love you know what I love Jimmy because Jimmy's just that dog that we need. Like we haven't had a dog in Brooklyn since shit, like KD. You know what I'm saying? Like we need that
yeah.
dog guy that's just gonna get you a bucket, clutch in the fourth quarter, talk smack to other players, talk smack to his own team. Talk smack to his own team. If somebody's not playing well, grab him by the shirt. What are you doing? Like we need that type of like dog mentality. That's what I love about Jimmy. But the thing about Jimmy is it's his age. It's just his age. If I could get a Jimmy Butler, a 26-year-old Jimmy Butler, I would sign him in a heartbeat. In a in a heartbeat. But it's like it's just his age, and I think he's just you could just see it's a little bit deteriorating. You just see the skills deteriorating, but it's like he only has so much longer to perform at this high level, and playoff Jimmy is insane. Like his stats are insane, and his clutch buckets are insane. But
There is an argument to be made that,
mhm,
giving him a max in, 2025 and giving him a 2, 3 year deal, like, that could get in the way of, like, later cap space because we gotta make sure Ace Bailey, Cooper Flag, or Dylan Harper, whoever we get, gets that year of player development, and that in
yes, yeah,
2026, we could use our cap space then to really sign those role players.
yeah. Yeah, last thing on this, and then I'll wrap this up for the Heat fans too, because I know Heat fans are gonna be under this. What do you think if Jimmy does leave? Let's say he is using this leverage, like, all right, I can go to the Nets and they'll pay me, or we'll probably hear some other teams. What teams do you think is the right fit for Jimmy? I know Jimmy probably has a small window to win a chip. My pick was Philly. I want to see the Philly reunion. I think Jimmy, Paul George. I don't know how it would work. I guess you would put Jimmy in the starting lab and Caleb Martin off the bench or something like that. But that Philly team, if Jimmy joins that Philly team or he takes a lesser deal, because I mean, at this age, he probably made enough money. I don't know. I know most players want their max, but he got money. It's not like he's poor. He could take a little pay cut to win a chip, to win a ring with Philly. What do you guys think is a right? Like, who is your pick for which team do you think Jimmy looks good on or is the right fit outside of Philly?
I think, like you said, you mentioned, like the team you just mentioned, but I don't
Mhm.
know. I think the Spurs could be very. I mean, that would be very interesting
Mm.
if they were to just like kind of jump in because they have Wemby,
Yeah,
they have something kind of
Chris Paul
brewing
and Jimmy.
there, and that would be interesting. I mean, you go and I mean, you look at some other teams. I mean, it's kind of a rough market.
Yeah,
I mean,
Pacers.
Memphis, yeah, no, Memphis has Bane. Yeah, I was gonna talk about Pacers.
I think Pacers
Pacers
because
would
the
be
Pacers have
interesting.
like a soft team, so it's like you need a tough guy, and Jimmy's like a floor raiser too, because Jimmy raises everybody's floor for some reason. Every like he can have a whole bunch of random guys, but those guys are gonna play better because Jimmy's just a floor raiser. He's one of those type of players. He just makes everybody better just by his energy, his presence, his vocal leadership. So it's like I feel like the Pacers could definitely use him. Yeah.
Yeah,
But Saib, you got
that
any
would
more
be
teams, or you think that's it for for Jimmy?
Uh, Ignoring, like, contracts, maybe Phoenix.
Ooh, that would be a super tier. Yo, Jimmy on Phoenix would go crazy. That would go crazy. Yeah, because I don't see Jimmy like going to like. A, he's not gonna go to Boston. Knicks. No, there's too much bad blood. I think with the Knicks. I just think Philly, Pacers, Suns is interesting, and I guess teams who have enough space because
Orlando.
who Orlando? Ooh, that's a good Orlando. Yes, Orlando.
I don't
That
know
would
No,
what
be great.
not
I
not
know they're paying a
Orlando.
lot of people though. They're
Th
paying everybody. I don't know.
and
Not Orlando.
they've got enough shooting problems as is.
Yeah, that's true. They do. They do.
41.4%, Syfe. What are you?
Yeah, but on 2.5
I'm
attempts.
just playing. Yeah, not
Two and a
much.
half attempts. All right, hit that
Bro,
like
yeah,
button.
41.4.
Yeah, hit that like button. Subscribe. Follow us on our socials. All scrolling at the bottom. Next Kingdom One. Let us know in the comments. Should the Nets sign Jimmy Butler? What do you guys think about the recent news from Brian Lewis, New York
Oh, wait,
Post?
Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland. Ooh, Jimmy could go to Cleveland too. Team up with Donovan. That could be Donovan. A little duo right there. Check out Saib's article on nestkingdom.net. Make sure you type that in. Hit that like button, subscribe. We're so close to 19K. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll be back.